cry came sharp and sudden, slicing through the bright morning air of the marble-floored mansion, stopping everyone mid-step. The millionaire's baby, who rarely made a sound and never cried in front of strangers, had begun wailing the moment the new maid crossed the sunlit doorway. His tiny hands reached out, his face red with emotion, eyes locked on her as if he had seen a ghost from his past. Then, through broken sobs and frantic gestures, he said something no one was prepared to hear, and the entire house seemed to hold its breath. Before the story unfolds any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that life sometimes brings people back together in the most unexpected ways, please like this video, share it with someone who loves emotional stories, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel Dreams Journal. Your support keeps these stories alive. The mansion belonged to Adrian Cross, a self-made millionaire known for his discipline, sharp mind, and emotional distance. After the sudden loss of his wife during childbirth, Adrian had sealed off a part of his heart, focusing only on providing the best for his infant son, Leo. The house was spotless, the staff efficient, yet something always felt hollow. Nannies came and went, caregivers tried their best, but Leo remained unusually quiet, withdrawn, as if waiting for something unnamed. That morning, sunlight poured through tall windows, reflecting off polished surfaces, when the agency sent a new maid to help during the day. Her name was Millionaire, a woman in her mid-20s with tired eyes, neatly tied hair, and a calm presence shaped by years of hardship. Alara had not expected luxury. She had accepted the job simply to survive, to pay rent, to keep moving forward after life had stripped her of everything familiar. She stepped inside with respectful caution, her simple uniform contrasting with the grandeur around her. As she bent slightly to remove her shoes at the entrance, the baby, seated on a plush mat nearby, noticed her. The reaction was immediate and unsettling. Leo's calm face crumpled, his small body shaking with emotion as tears streamed down his cheeks. He cried louder and louder, reaching toward Alara with desperate urgency. Staff members exchanged uneasy looks, assuming the child was frightened by a stranger. Adrian, irritated yet concerned, approached to soothe his son, but the crying did not stop. Instead, Leo's tiny hands stretched toward Alara as if pulled by memory rather than sight. In his distress, he repeated a word he had never spoken before, a word no one had taught him, a word that made Alara freeze where she stood. Her knees weakened, her breath caught, and the world around her blurred. The baby had called her Mama. The room fell silent under the daylight. Adrian felt the air leave his lungs as he stared at Alara, searching her face for answers. Memories he had buried surged back with painful clarity. Years ago, before wealth and loss hardened him, he had loved a young woman who vanished from his life without explanation during a storm of misunderstandings and pride. That woman stood before him now, thinner, older, carrying quiet sorrow in her eyes. Alara had disappeared not because she wanted to, but because life had broken her in ways Adrian never knew. Illness, abandonment, and fear had pushed her away, and by the time she gathered the strength to return, she believed she was no longer welcome. Alara had never known she was pregnant when she left. By the time she discovered the truth, Adrian had already married under pressure and expectation. Believing her child would have a better life without her complications, she made a choice that haunted her every waking moment. She had watched from afar as Adrian's life grew successful, never daring to interfere. Fate, however, had its own plans, and it brought her back not as a lover, but as a maid, under the same roof as the child she had carried in her heart every day. As the day unfolded, the truth unraveled gently yet painfully. Adrian listened, not with anger, but with the weight of regret pressing heavily on his chest. The mansion that once felt empty now echoed with emotions long suppressed. Leo calmed only when Alara held him, his cries softening into quiet breaths under the warm daylight streaming through the windows. In that moment, Adrian understood that wealth had never been the missing piece. Love had been. Days passed, and the atmosphere of the house changed. Sunlight seemed warmer, laughter more frequent. Alara was no longer just a maid. She became a presence that healed unseen wounds. Adrian learned humility, learned to listen, learned that forgiveness was not weakness but strength. Leo began to smile more, his eyes brighter, his small hands reaching confidently toward both parents. Just before the ending, we have a special request for you. Please comment below and tell us what this story made you feel, or share a moment when life surprised you with an unexpected reunion. As the story comes to a close, the mansion no longer stood as a symbol of loneliness, but as a home reborn in daylight, filled with second chances and quiet miracles. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that love can return even after years of silence, please like, comment, and share this video. Your engagement means everything to us here at Dreams Journal, and your kindness keeps these stories alive for others who need hope.